Ward, whether you use the lightning, cold, or hybrid version, is a great build. It's going to give you a tremendous amount of ward, as you can see just being generated here while attacking. Enough damage to clear all content in the game, whether you're playing solo or in a group, while providing some crowd control. Seeing the gameplay at full speed might seem a little overwhelming, so we're going to break this build down one piece at a time so that you can understand how it works and be effective with it when you use it on your own. Let's jump into it. The bread and butter for abilities in terms of playstyle is Lightning Blast, and this ability actually can target anywhere on the screen. In fact, it can actually go further than that. Now, you're going to see a single blast, but what this will do is actually chain to other enemies when it contacts them. In fact, there you see it actually contact enemies off the screen. By spamming this ability, you'll notice that the ward on the character just continues to generate, but we have other methods of maintaining and increasing the ward as well. Now, it might seem that the damage from Lightning Blast alone is a little lackluster, especially when you get to high health enemies or even bosses. So what we have is a couple of abilities that not only increase our ward, but also increase the damage output of the character. Flame Ward through the talent tree will actually be able to do lightning damage, and all the skills in this build will do lightning damage in this particular video, but you can actually convert these to cold as well, using a full cold build, or even a hybrid between lightning and cold, whatever your preference is. By using infusion, it's going to increase the damage output while this Flame Ward is active. Now you might think that this is a limited time, and you can see I'm casting Flame Ward here, but we have a way to make Flame Ward active more often, increasing the uptime and thus increasing the damage output. The method we do this is going to be through Frostwall, and we've of course changed Frostwall to lightning for the sake of this video, but again, you could use cold or lightning, whatever your preference is. By taking prepared wards, it's actually going to put a flame ward on our character when we go through the wall. So what we're going to do here is essentially cast a wall and simply walk through it. Now I do want to note that if you cast a wall and actually teleport through it, you will not gain that frost ward. So just keep that in mind, that you need to actually physically walk through the wall in order to gain that. Now our mana pool is staying relatively full. Key component of this is that Lightning Blast costs no mana. It allows us to have enough mana to use all the other abilities in the build whenever we like. Teleport is another skill that we're using here, and this is mainly for mobility, although it is also going to provide some ward when we use it. And you can see the ward is going to have an increase simply when we cast, and we have a very low cooldown on this particular skill, meaning we can cast this for mobility, get to safety while increasing our ward. Incredible for the build, allows us to be very mobile while keeping damage and safety up as a priority. Again, you can cast the ward, you can cast another wall, walk through it, you can always teleport, and you'll see that the mana is really easy to sustain with this particular build. Lastly, we've got Static Orb on the bar, and this is going to allow us to get a damage buff and damage reduction. By using Static Orb, we're going to proc Lightning Aegis, and this is going to give us a 50% increase to lightning damage and reduce damage taken by 25%. Absolutely massive when we're fighting bosses with those higher health pools as mentioned. All you need to do is cast that, go back to using your Lightning Blast, and then you can basically weave it in, so to speak, while using your other abilities to kind of maintain or improve your ward as needed. But you can see the ward, even when not attacking anything on screen, is simply floating around 500, and we'll get much higher than that. All the information for when and where to place your points in terms of specializations can be found in the link in the video description for Last Epoch tools. It's a great resource and website if you're ever looking for any additional information. But I do want to point out that all these skills are at places where you could easily branch off and go into cold at this point. This build guide has been done at level 50, so that's around the point in which you could transition from lightning to cold, or even potentially a hybrid. Up until that point, it'll be more efficient to play as the lightning version. I just want to make sure that you're aware of that. For passives, there's a general rule to follow, and that's going to be take things that increase or work with ward, then we're going to go ahead and buff things that boost our cast speed, and finally we'll go for damage or utility. So again, that's going to be ward, cast speed, damage, utility. You'll also need to put 5 points into Sorcerer whenever you find it appropriate, and this is going to be based on your character's progression, whether that's level or RNG with gear that you've found. The reason for that is we need to unlock Static Orb because it's used in the build. Place 5 points here at your convenience. It doesn't have to be all at once. You put a couple points and then come back later for a few more points if that's convenient and your character is lacking something else as you progress on. The Runemaster tree will progress similar to the Mage tree. Now there's some more damage options available here, so if you find your character is lacking some damage on particular boss fights, you can always move some points around to boost your damage. Build is incredibly tanky given all the ward, so during the leveling process you're free to swap many of these points around, but I'll give you what I feel is the most effective path in the build guide in the description. My favorite part of this build, and other builds whenever it comes to this, is that it doesn't actually require any gear to bring this online. You can use whatever you find during the leveling process and just continue to improve it. Obviously things that improve your ward or ward retention are going to be strong. Intelligence or damage output, whether that be elemental damage or whichever specific element you're choosing to use, are also beneficial to this character. I'll leave all that info again in the Last Epoch tools with recommended items and how you may kind of disperse these in order to get a lot of value out of the character. As always, thanks for taking the time to watch and have a great day.